Hello, good evening, everyone. My name is Yi Li Vu, and I am the Adult Services and Engagement at the Appleton Public Library. Today, I am going to be hosting the Entrepreneurs of Color Spotlight, which highlights an entrepreneur's business journey, and we invite you to interact and learn. So please feel free to put all your comments in the chat, and then we'll answer them. You'll also get to learn more about our special guest speaker today. And before I introduce the guest speaker, I would like to thank our sponsors, WACMA and Hmong Wisconsin Chamber of Commerce, for sponsoring our EoC Spotlight. These EoC Spotlights are brought to you by the Appleton Public Library, the ColorBold Business Association, and UW-Madison Division of Winnebago County and Outagamie County, and with a shared mission to support and empower business owners of color in the Northeast Wisconsin. So without further ado, I would like to introduce the owner of Azteca Mexican restaurant in the Fox Cities. Her name is Faye Montalvo, and I'm going to put myself up there. Just gonna, all right. Hi, Faye.
Hello.
How are
Good
you?
evening. Very good, thank you.
Good. Thank you for being with us today. I would like to, if you can take a moment to tell us a little bit more about who you are and what you are currently doing in the Fox Valley now.
My name is Fe Montalvo. I'm the owner of El Azteca Mexican restaurant. I managed those restaurants. Right now we have 4 restaurants in the valley, including Chicken Grill and Menacha. And we've been in the Fox Valley. Actually, this is our 25th anniversary.
Congratulations. That is a huge accomplishment to be operating multiple restaurants for 25 years, Faye. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And so how did you get inspired to open restaurants in the Fox Valley?
Well, I came in United States in 1990, and I came to study, but I started working in a Mexican restaurant in Nashville, Tennessee, and I start liking being in a restaurant, especially, serving tacos, burritos, fajitas, and that's where I met my husband, and we decided to open our own restaurant.
Okay. So then did you open the restaurant where you were studying first, or was the Fox Valley here the very first place where you opened your restaurant?
Well, no, my husband was working as a manager of that franchise. And then later on, every time they open a restaurant, they move us forward different places. And the last place that we worked was in Davenport, Iowa. And when we were there, we decided that, we can start doing our own business. So we were just driving and we get into Appleton, where is our first location on Northland Avenue. And that's how we start with the business.
But she went to school in El Paso, Texas when she was going to school.
Okay. Where did your mom go to school?
El Paso in Texas.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And then I moved to Nashville, Tennessee to keep studying. And that's where I started working in the Mexican restaurant.
Okay. So you were working in the restaurant industry while you were a college student then?
Exactly.
So, did you ever thought of becoming a restaurant owner?
Uh, Not at the beginning, but and then later on, I got married, and then, um, well, my husband and I, like I said, we start working with this franchise. So we decided when we were married and we have our first two kids
Mhm.
that we want to do it in our own instead of opening restaurants for somebody else. Um, yeah,
Yeah.
that's how we started.
I love it. I love how, you didn't really went to school for restaurant or like into the culinary school, but then just working in the restaurant industry got you to be inspired to start opening your own dream and create something good for you. So, um, and I know that the restaurant industry is a very tough industry because outside of my library profession, I also have a few restaurant, and I know that it takes a lot of work to be able to open a restaurant. But Faye, can you share a little bit more about um, like what is your favorite part about working in the restaurant or building your business?
Well, my favorite part is um, I think it's the customers, it's the people. It since the beginning I noticed that I like to be working, with a lot of people, the atmosphere, being talking to my customers. I enjoy that so much. Of course, the kitchen, working in our dishes. I love to be, doing menus. We usually change menus like every year, putting some new dishes, working with, different plates. But my favorite part, it's like my, co-workers and my customers. It's always so happy to be around them, and I know a lot of them. And it's working with them, but at the same time, I will say my dishes, my menu. Like right
Mhm.
now, we just put a new menu where we introduce a new different plates. Um, it's kind of a little bit of everything, but I think my favorite part is the people.
Yeah. So who creates the menu at your restaurants?
Um, Actually, my husband and I, we create our menu at the beginning. We have some knowledge about, like typical plates, let's say tacos, fajitas, chimichangas,
Mhm.
burritos. I grew up with those. And of course, when we begin, my mom helped me a lot, and my sisters too. They help us with some salsas, recipes, trying to do it a little more Mexico, because the restaurant that we used to work, it was more like a little bit Tex-Mex.
Mhm.
Um, but I think my family, they help us a lot with, with quite a few dishes, especially salsas, spices, things like that.
Mhm. Yeah, I want to ask you, you have multiple restaurants in the Fox Valley. How many years did it take you to start your first one to build more and more restaurants here?
At the beginning, it takes us about, let's say, it's like 6 years when we start working in different places. Yeah, and then when we open in actually, I came to the United States in 1990, but our first restaurant that we opened, it was in 1998. But well, I get married in 1994, so it takes us about 4 years after I get married to keep thinking to open our own business.
Okay. So you have a lot in the beginning, it was a lot of like families helping your mom, your husband, and then Are your kids now invested in your business as well too?
Actually, my son, they all of them, they help me. They have their own, ¿cómo se dice? Su propia carrera. They have their own career, but when they have some free time, they, like my oldest daughter and her husband too, they come and help us. It's a family restaurant. And
Yeah.
my youngest son too, he studies in Atlanta, but when he comes for vacations, I mean, yeah, he help us a lot. And my son, um, he graduated from Whitewater, but it was during the pandemic and all that he, he couldn't find, he preferred to stay at home during that
Mhm.
time. And he started helping us a lot through the takeout orders, because that's what we can do, only takeout orders.
Yeah.
So he started working with us, and right now he's part of the restaurant every day.
Mhm.
So seems like he's going to stay in the business. I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's great. Um, what advice would you give to someone who wants to start a restaurant or who wants to start a business? Like, not many people can open multiple businesses or be an entrepreneur like you. So, what is some advice that you would give to people who are watching that are in the beginning phase of thinking of starting their own business?
Well, I think the most difficult thing is just the beginning. Every time you want to, like, opening a business, it's the first, I would say, to start a business, the most difficult thing is to start. Um, it is, like, for me, it was so difficult, but once you start, I will say that the most important thing is discipline, constancy, and perseverance.
Perseverance.
That's those, for me, three things that it has to be in your mind every single day. Every single day. It's you need That's the first one, discipline, perseverance, and um and constancy, to be there. Like, to me, I'm almost in the restaurants every day.
Mhm.
Every day I stop in one, I stop on the other one. What do you need? What are we going to do? It's stay in there.
Mhm.
Because I don't know, to me it's just like, I need to be there almost every day,
Mhm.
checking that we don't miss nothing. um, we have enough employees for that day. I mean, it's not that easy. Sometimes, things happen in a business, but it's never surrendered. And to me, like I said, I enjoy it to be there every single day.
Yes.
Since the first day, I'm always there.
Wow. So, what would be one of the challenges of running your own business?
One of the challenges will be,
It could be multiple too. I know,
yeah, I can.
yeah,
Well,
I know
right
as a
now,
business owner, there's a lot of challenges. There's great success too, but with success, it comes with obstacles as well.
well, I think the most, I would say, to keep it open, to stay in there, to stay in there. Because right now you see what happens on the pandemic. It was too many restaurants that they close, and right now I think every business, like, owners, they are, you keep that sense, like, a little bit scary. But to me, it's like to stay where we are right now.
Yeah, definitely. It takes a lot of risk and discipline, like you said, to be open for, for you for 25 years. That's a huge milestone and accomplishment. But, I think in the beginning, did you have any like struggles with like financing? How did you and your husband be able to fund your very first business?
Well, the beginning was very, very difficult for us. when we get into Appleton, it was like I think it was only one Mexican restaurant, a small restaurant in downtown, and then it was us. So when we get here, we hardly see Hispanic people. And when the um, American people, they when they see Mexican restaurant, they ¿cómo se dice? Lo asocia. They associate with the spicy food, you know. So it
Mhm.
was the beginning. I remember the first months it was very slow. People they were so afraid to try Mexican food. We
Mhm.
noticed that because a lot of customers they said, "Oh, it wasn't that bad what I thought it was." You know, oh, it's not as spicy. You know, we make spicy dishes when people they request.
Mhm.
Otherwise, you know, it's for everybody. Actually,
Mhm.
we're a family restaurant. We have a tons of kids, you know, every day. Everybody can eat our dishes. But at the beginning, it was tough because people they were so afraid to try Mexican food. They're not
Mhm.
used to it.
Yes.
I remember uh, we it was a struggling. It was very very hard for us. So
So what did you do? You just what did you do to like get customers to understand your cuisine and to bring customers through your door then? Did you just do any advertisement or what were some of the ways that you got customers?
yeah, that's I remember that we couldn't even afford some advertising, to be honest.
Mhm.
I remember that I was outside of Walmart giving some people, you know, some advertising and saying, you know, if you come to the restaurant, we'll give you. And I remember in those years it was like a $2 off, something like that. But we spread, like my sister, my brother-in-law, myself, my husband, we were spreading, you know, a lot of flyers so people they can come and try it, and you know talking to the people saying, you know, oh no, people they are afraid sometimes a lot of spices
Mhm.
or you know spicy food also. um but it was when people they come into the restaurant and try it, we said, oh, I'll give you this gift certificate for $5 off on your next visit. So we noticed that people they don't throw those on the garbage, you know, they come back. And little by little I remember we start getting busy and busy and busy. And but yeah, it was so hard to bring people into the
Mhm.
restaurant.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I think because you opened your business in 1990, so at that time, not many people were aware of, a lot of different types of cuisines and food and culture. I feel like now more people are starting to, um, wanting to like try new food and wanting to like um, go travel and bring new food to the valley because that's kind of like what I did too. But I know that I used to talk to some of the restaurant business owners when they first opened, like in the 90s, and they said it was a struggle trying to like educate people about different cuisines. So it's really good that you stay very disciplined, resilient, and like you didn't give up when it was a challenge. You kept on going. So, is there anything else that you wanted to share to everyone, Faye?
como que um well, something else that I want to share is there is too many things that I would like to
Yeah, or
share.
any big future plans or goals that you have, that you're working on that you want, the
Well,
community to know.
right now we are working on food trucks also.
Wow.
There is two food trucks that we used to start working those. Um, so we like to continue growing, you know.
Yes.
And what I can say, it's always, you know, what it's in your head, your dreams, do it. just do it. Sometimes it takes, like for us, honestly, the first restaurant that we opened, we closed one. And it was, like I said, it was on those times. It was a small little restaurant, but we always wanted to be working for ourselves, instead of working for somebody else. I know sometimes it's tough, but if you know what you're doing and you know where you want to go, it's just the beginning. I will say that it's just later on, everything runs more smooth.
That's awesome. Yeah. Yeah. Again, if there's any questions for Faye, you can comment them below. Otherwise, I want to thank Faye for her time to be with us and talking about her journey, talking about some great advice as a business owner of 25 years. That's amazing to see. A lot of people that open restaurants, within the first 2 years, they fail. But for this amazing woman and her family, it's 25 years in the Fox Valley and still growing. So thank you, Faye, for being a part of our community and introducing us to different type of Mexican cuisine. Thank you.
No, thanks to you. It was a pleasure.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.